Hello, everyone. How we doing tonight? A little bit different today, a little bit earlier than usual. I'm doing great. Celebrating Halloween tonight, few events, so we'll be going out. Hence, for the early peer review. I'm sorry, guys, but I'm trying to keep a semblance of a social life as well. So, slowly but surely. Uh, I don't know who it was. I believe it was you, Justin, actually, that asked. We will not be reviewing, just due to the fact that I'm a little pressed on time, Wednesday's PA today. But if, I'm sorry to push it back, but if we revisit it during the weekly outlook, I'd be more than happy to. Right after the outlook, I'll just close the recording and we can go all over what happened on Wednesday. What do people do for holidays? Just work. Yeah, I work as well, but there are events sometimes in the night, so just a few parties, you know? But enough talking about real life. Let's talk about the markets, right? Very simple, right? We had a huge expansion lower on Thursday. And for me, Thursday is no trading day on NFP week. And it's not due to the fact that I can't read the markets on this specific day. It's very simple. It's just based on the fact that it's unreliable. So I know that my win rate is extremely lower on that day. So I don't want to be engaging with the market specifically then. Very simple stuff. But we're still going into elections next week. So very rough type of PA, very aggressive. But after a large range day like this, what do you anticipate? A retracement into our range. Now, in this specific case, am I going to refer to the current weekly range that we are just forming? Never. Why? Because we are extremely bearish, right? We've seen that from a 2% down day. So what range am I going to be referring to? Let me just place this on the right side. When I'm going to be looking for retracements? Well, it's very simple. Previous day range, right? And if I just draw this correctly, let me just move it aside. I'm going to be looking for retracement to previous day equilibrium and first premium inefficiency. What time frame am I going to be looking at? Intraday. What is my first intraday premium inefficiency? 15-minute fair value gap right here. Intraday, by the way, for you guys that are newer here, I see a new face. Intraday for me means 15-minute. I like to say intraday because I predict and trade intraday moves based on this 15-minute time frame. So I like to refer to the intraday specifically in this case. Looking here, 15-minute fair value gap. Let's actually leave that in blue just so it's a little bit easier to see. So my draw, to keep it very straightforward, has been, this is my retracement objective. I'm looking for a move to the upside to this retracement objective, and then continuation is lower. After a big move like this, and especially if you were there in our weekly outlook, we know that our draw was lower. I was looking for lower prices in this very specific case. Now, we'll look back over it next week very specifically, but definitely those objectives have yet to be met, and we did reach for previous week's low on Thursday, which is just additional confluence that Friday was going to be a retracement higher. You can also use TGIF levels, so looking at the weekly range and looking for a 20 to 30% retracement. I just like to keep my logic simple, so I don't want to implement something else. So implement TGIF on top of everything when my logic, premium and discount, first premium inefficiency when I'm looking at a bearish range, just works all the time. It's not 100% win rate, is not what I'm saying, but it works all the time. Is I can always explain my moves in this way. So why would I need something more? If we go down to the 1 minute, we know that we had, and I will remove that range and actually that plus button. I was trading on my phone today, so always putting the plus button so I can place a stop loss order. But we had 8:30 news, NFP, right? Which did not move a lot. And we also had 10 a.m. news. Now, when am I allowed to trade before the second news? We saw another example of this week. When 9:30 forms a clear Judas swing, right? Clear Judas swing right at 9:30 right here. We went lower, confirmed through SMT. Let me just place this. And I need an important liquidity level, like data low, the low of the news. That's simple, guys. And yes, I do understand it seems cherry picked, but for me, I'm in front of my charts at 9:30, well, 9:15 if I'm being precise. And I know when I'm allowed to trade before news, close to London low also. Yes, we did induce London lows, right? In this very specific case, let me just mark out this level so that we can see it. Right here, we were very close to London low. Why was I confident in the fact that we were going to go higher? Because I know that this whole move higher is just a retracement. So I understand that we have to leave equal lows. We have to induce liquidity lower before completing our retracements to then continue lower. So it's all about context. But the SMT, even if you did not understand this very specific context, just the SMT tells you it's enough. And then what did we do? Well, right on the open, formed a breaker block. What are we looking for with a breaker block? Our first overlapping PD array. Oh, that was a nice voice crack. First overlapping PD array. Looking right here. So where's your entry? Right over here. 3 PD array stop loss rule. I have inverse fair value gap. I have inverse fair value gap and inverse fair value gap. So am I going to place my stop at the low of this candle? No. Why? Because this is an inverse fair value gap. I have to let it trade into it. Sure. But what do I have right next to it? Just this order block. These 3 consecutive candles are part of the order block. So no, I'm not going to place my stop at the low of this IFVG because I understand that it can trade down into this order block and respect it. The safe bet was to place your stop all the way down. Now, I like to place my stop at the CE of the wick, so the midpoint of the wick when I see a resistance block, but that is some more complex options. So we're going to go for the safe and easy stop. Where is it? Swing low. Looking further to the left, what could be your objectives? Well, first of all, let's zoom out. What do you have here? And let's actually go to the 15-minute. Once you're at 9:30 right here, what do you have? Well, you have the news high, right? So right here would be your data highs. So that's one clear objective, right? A news rate framework. Data highs are right here. And afterwards, you have nothing right up until this high, which also aligns with, I'm going to say it, with the 4-hour bearish fair value gap. I didn't see a fair value gap. There was no fair value gaps, formed bullish fair value gaps, right? But there were inversion fair value gaps, right? Which once you close back above, you want to see support from this level, which later we can clearly see that we disrespected our specific entry PD array, but it's just our entry function. We don't need this to be respected. Perfect unicorn with SMT and manipulation. Nice. Definitely. Short-term objective for me, data highs. As stated, my clear objective, this 15-minute liquidity level that align with my 4-hour fair value gap. And then, of course, my final objective is my retracement objective, which is the 15-minute fair value gap. I like to utilize standard deviations to bring confluence to my levels. If we just look right here, I'd have 4 standard deviations here just past sweeping this. This would be my partial objective. Now, you can try and go all the way up to 4. I just think that's a little bit risky. I prefer partialing at 1.5, being quite happy. And then my real objective is right here at the 15-minute swing high into the 4-hour fair value gap. I had a hard time saying that. A big reason why this is an objective for me is if we go to the 15-minute, you can see that this is consolidation and it is all low resistance liquidity right up until this level. After this level, we have big defense, if you want, right? We have huge gaps that we have to fill, and this is going to generate high resistance conditions. So right up until here, there is no defense, if I can say it like that. No worries, Yuan. So for me, very simple trade this morning. I was long before the news, and looking at the final objective, you had a potential of all the way up close to 5R. Personally, I would never hold past this level because this is my full objective. I'm trading a retracement. I anticipate that at this gap, we're going to reverse and go lower. I'm starting to look for shorts at this gap. Personally, I was done for the day right after this trade. I actually did not even hold it. Oh, well, actually 10:30. Yes. So I held it until 10:30. My last runner got stopped out somewhere in these lows. I don't remember precisely, to be honest, but definitely a clear trade for me. Now, If you did not enter before the news, did you still have an opportunity? 100%. What are you looking for at news? Manipulation. You just had to frame the same idea. Your objectives have yet to be met. Can you still take a trade at this point? 100%. And yes, another breaker, as you say, right? And if we look, let me just actually use standard deviations. This is actually a breaker range, right? Swing low to swing high. Then we broke the low, then broke the highs. What do you have? Breaker block. What are you looking for? The first overlapping PD array. Fair value gap. Same entry function over and over and over again, right? Nothing changes here. Let me just change the color so it's a little easier to see here. Perfectly to 4 standard deviations. Yes, looking at the breaker standard deviations, we tapped this level to form this high. I believe we broke it later down the line though. If I just go and check, yeah, we did go a tiny bit higher just before lunch. Do you ever know where to take a liquidity on 15 minutes to reach 154 points? I do not know what you mean by that. That is a very specific question. Blue one is much riskier. Oh, you mean my 15-minute objective, right? Compared to taking profits at this 15-minute liquidity. Is that what you mean, UM? I am going to place the trade box, just talk about the stop loss very quickly. So inversion fair value gap, fair value gap, fair value gap, stop at this fair value gap low, giving you almost 1 R at your potential objective. Honestly, at this point, I would just place my stop break even, let it do what it has to do. Partial at the reversal range, full target at, honestly, I wouldn't even let it go to 4 standard deviations. Let me take a screenshot. Yeah, for sure. Give me a visual. Maybe I'll help understand better. I'm sorry if I'm not understanding your question right. And as I said, guys, to me, that was the only move I was willing to trade today because I was not expecting on a Friday for us to completely reverse. Now, there were some short opportunities, definitely. There was actually a pretty nice, almost a lunch trade, actually. We basically induced the lunch highs at this point and then reversed lower. And to be honest, all of this move lower was all super high resistance. So are there high probability opportunities in there? Not with my model, right? And yes, you can say, well, here, look, from the point that your retracement objective has been met, you can now look for shorts. What do we have right here? We have a short opportunity. Did it give you an entry? I'm looking. No retracements into a fair value gap, retracements into an inverse fair value gap right here. But that was before forming the breaker. Actually, no, because there was SMT here. So there was a breaker right here. And it did give you an opportunity on this inversion fair value gap. Actually, did we? Well, we closed below it here, traded back into it here. So you did have a short opportunity. Stops at the SMT. What could you target? Well, we'd look for it to return to a discount of this range, which we'll go look at it in a 5 minute. Don't worry, I'll get to your question, UM, as soon as you send the picture, by the way. Just reverse this very quickly. Be looking at the 5 minute time frame. First, discount and efficiency, where is it? Liquidity below here. So we failed to reach this specific level. But to be honest, this range is quite greedy because you'd be looking at the current expansion range, which would be this one. But I tend to look for the intraday range still, so 15 minute. Looking at this and see discount and efficiency even lower. So we did not reach my specific target objective. I would have still taken a partial if I was in this trade because there is no way I'm up 4R and I'm not even taking money out, right? Personally, I like to utilize standard deviations of the breaker block when there is no clear objective based on my logic. And where could you take profit? Well, reversal range aligns with the last level of liquidity. Same logic we use to find our 15-minute level, right? This is all low resistance right up until here where defense starts. Would be a great partial, right? And looking at this, does it offer enough? 2.07 R. Beautiful opportunity for short retracement. And then, of course, another opportunity to long at some point. I would have never looked for a continuation. My objective has already been met. And then will I start to look for shorts here? No, I had a short opportunity. If we're going back up here, it just tells me that it's even lower probability. We're just consolidating. So to me, the opportunities really were in the AM session. I'm looking at the conservative options here, but the real entry was very early, but quite hard to spot. If you were waiting until post-news, still an extremely clear setup, super nice delivery, all the way to almost 3R to our retracement objectives, and then you could look for short continuation, which honestly, best case scenario, partial, and then break even. Still a very nice trade. That blue eye area is his PD array. He targets it with a runner at the very tip of the PD. Yes, so just my goal in trading is not to have the best returns possible. It's to be extremely consistent. And I've established logic. I see you're new to this Discord, so this might be all new to you to see how I personally view the charts. But what I like to do when I see a large expansion day, right, just like we had the previous day, I like to use the previous day's range, the range that we are currently trading within, and then I'm going to go down to 15-minute chart just so we can see the premium discount, which I did not draw. So let's actually use this. So consequent encroachment 2, we should now see levels on our chart. So you see that 0.5, that 0, 0.5, and 1. This is previous day high, previous day low, previous day equilibrium. This gives me a premium and discount utilizing the previous day's range. I'm looking for my first premium in efficiency. In what time frame? 15-minute intraday move. My first premium in efficiency is right here. And yes, sometimes I like to utilize quarters on huge inefficiencies. But in this case, I found it was a little bit too cherry-picked to hold a trade all the way here. And personally, in my own trading, I was quite satisfied with just reaching that inefficiency. Or this is your target here. Do you mean this is your profit target? Oh, okay, that's what you mean. So this blue box, right, our 15-minute fair value gap, this is my retracement objective, which means that the whole move I'm framing of us having taken previous week low, and now on Friday, what are we going to do? We're going to retrace into the premium. That's my move. And my move stops here. But if I'm in a trade, I'm going to be taking profits at clear areas to, well, first of all, if the trade flips on me, I'm still going to be happy because I'm going to have paid myself on it. And if it doesn't, well, I'm not leaving, for example, this in terms of risk to reward, this was a little bit smaller. But with me, with my first entry being so far down, right? If I just put the box back, let me just move this aside. I just put the box back here. At this point in time, I'm up 3R. I don't want to leave my trade up all the way up to 5R. I want to take money out, pay myself. So I'm looking for clear objectives in direction, I guess, with my objectives. So clear objectives along the way to take profit. Definitely a lot of stuff. I don't know how you trade, what you trade, if you trade, right? But if you have any questions, do feel free to head in general. I won't be able to get to it tonight. As I said, pretty busy night. But at any point in time, you can ask, and we offer a lot of resources. I guess the best place to start, if you want to see how I trade, is going right to my YouTube channel and seeing the pinned video, right? Or you can find it in the Discord. If you go to projects and then Rice trading model, you'll actually find my trading model video and a few educational threads on X about how I trade, how I view the markets, how I use news to establish my trading days and such. Try to stick with pro trend entries with the Rise model. Yes, definitely. Always trading towards the trend, but the thing is, sometimes a trend can be for a session, a day, a week, or month. So sometimes I'm trading against my weekly trend, but I'm trading towards my daily trend. So that's why it can get a little tricky at times. Do we have any questions in regards to these setups specifically? Or anything else, right? I didn't want to say it like that, not just in regards to these setups, just in general. By the way, I am busy, so I am taking, I see you guys type, so I am taking the thumbnail for the video tonight because this is being recorded in advance. So in case you guys were wondering why I was changing stuff here. That's awesome, yo. I'm glad to hear you say that. But as I said, anytime you have a question, do feel free to tell us. In general, we have a great community. A lot of people have taken over the rice trading model. So if you want to ask any questions, they can definitely be of help. If not, my YouTube will be the best place. And of course, at any point in time, be happy to tag me. I appreciate the kind words, Wolfe. Gonna see what Justin has to say. Have a great party, bro. I appreciate that. So I am in a rush, as I told you guys, so I'm gonna leave it at that for tonight. Thanks for coming. It's nice to see a few faces on this Friday night, right? Usually pretty empty in here on a Friday. People like to grind during the week and then forget about it during the weekend. Don't give up. Take this time in the weekend to chill, take a breather, regain your energy, but remember to always stay sharp. Whether that's backtesting for you, reviewing your past week's performance, reviewing the past week's price action. Make sure to always keep your edge sharp. No will not be postponed, Wolfe. You guys have a great night. I'm going to run. Was awesome talking with you guys. We'll see each other back on Sunday for most, and see you tomorrow, Wolfe. Have a good one, guys. It's always a pleasure. You guys have a great weekend too. See you guys.